Boss Man's going to split from Slick when he refuses to be paid off by Ted DiBiase, and that leads to the end of the Twin Towers. At WrestleMania 6, Boss Man gets the victory, and that would be the last big time match that we would see for Akeem in the WWF. In October, just as the story with Saba Simba is getting started on TV, and God only knows what that could have led to. Gang leaves the company, but he's still being advertised for Survivor Series in 1990. The team with Sergeant Slaughter and the Orient Express. So WrestleMania 6 winds up being his last big pay-per-view. But why the end of the run here? Was the travel getting to him? Was there something else? Was he unreliable? Was he not happy with his pay? Do you recall what the issue was with George Gray here in 1990?
Wanted to go home. Simple as that. And it is as simple as that. Wanted to go home.
Yeah.
He had spent, 2-3 years, whatever it was, running hard on the road. It was time to go home. And he just did not feel like making the miles and being away from his family for 3-4 weeks, come home for 2 days, then go do it again. It's a rough life. It is. Anybody that, you look at the glamour and what's on television and, oh my God, these guys must live this wonderful life. They get to travel and they get to stay in hotels and every night work in a different place. And they get to see all the sights of Dubuque, Iowa and all these wonderful things. They forget about having to get to the airport 2 hours early and having people who recognize you come up and constantly asking you for autographs and pictures. And hey, what's it like? Hey, what's it like when you were in the ring with old hacksaw Jim Duggan? And then you got to go through TSA, and then you got to go through security. Then you got to sit and wait at your gate. Then you got to get on your plane, and now you're stuck in a tube with people who want to ask you questions and come up and bother you. And all you're looking for is, if it's a 2-hour trip, 2 hours, man, give me 2 hours of sleep. Give me 2 hours of rest all to myself. And then you get off the plane and there's more people and you repeat the cycle. That's the price of being a star. That's the price of doing what it is that we do. So when you take that into consideration, that's also to people who line up at airports. Take it into consideration. These guys work hard and it's tough. And I think that Gang had had enough of that. He wanted to go home, Mid-South. He was in a car, probably driving 1,000-mile loops, whatever it was. I forget what the totality of that loop was when you did every one of the major towns. But he was home. You know what I mean? He could get home. And it was familiar. He was never too far away that he couldn't get there by car. And he's a big guy, and it's uncomfortable to travel like that. It is. And I think he just had it. And that was nothing more, nothing less. You could have offered him a stack of money and say, George, you're set for the rest of your life. Have to travel, have to do all this other shit. Don't want to do it. That's my takeaway.
Gang is going to leave the company here. He's going to go to Memphis before WCW. He winds up having a decent run in the company there. He works with the likes of Kevin Sullivan and Junkyard Dog, and he bounces between a few different characters, and ultimately he's let go because he refuses to lose to PN News. He somehow winds up coming back and becomes U.S. champion in 1995. I don't know that anybody saw that coming. But he's a big heel. He's a big heel fed to Hogan, and he sort of gets phased out when the New World Order story starts to take shape. I know that he had a dark match back with you guys in 1998. It was February. He wrestled Flash Flanagan in Evansville, but he's not brought back after that. Do you think there was a way that George Gray could have worked either the Akeem gimmick or the one-man gang gimmick in the Attitude Era when he needed to reinvent himself, or did he just have too many miles on him for you guys to roll the dice here in '98.
No, I think he could have reinvented himself. I just think the momentum had stopped. So yeah, we were coming from a dead stop to trying to get him going then. And I don't think it worked. I don't think that he was the same hungry one man gang, George Gray, Akeem that was there before. Got the wrinkles out of his belly.
Well, let's talk about the wrinkles out of his belly, because one of the last appearances of Gang on WWE TV is the Gimmick Battle Royal. You're part of it. It's Houston, WrestleMania 17. As I understand it, the original idea was for him to be Akeem, but I guess he lost so much weight he couldn't pull that outfit off anymore. So he's one man gang. Is that the way you remember?
Yeah. It was like, well, how hard is it to make? He goes, yeah, but Bruce, once all that comes off, nothing else fits.
Yeah.
And he had dropped a considerable amount of weight. And to try and have gear made up for that. And it was short notice.
Yeah.
And trying to get something done in 3 weeks like that is just damn near impossible these days.
Talk to me about his career. I mean, what do you think his legacy will be? Is it Akeem as a one man gang?
I think that people are mainly going to remember him as the one man gang who became Akeem. There's going to be a lot of audience, some of the younger audience only knows Akeem. But from within the industry, those that knew him, I think, liked him. And he was an unbelievable talent in the ring, dependable, had a great work ethic, and was just somebody. He was somebody that you want to hang around with. If you're there's a spot in the dressing room and nobody's sitting next to Gang. Hey, you mind if I sit here? Because you want to sit next to Gang, and he'll crack you up for for an evening. So he's one of the good guys. He's one of the good guys. He's one of the guys that you see people seek out if they're at a fan convention signing something and the one man gang is there. The boys go seek him out.
Yes.
Because he's just that kind of a human being, and was always really, really good to me, and was always a gentleman. And you look at him and you think, oh my God, this guy's been through everything. He's so rough and tough and, crazy, and don't cross him. And man, he was a guy making a living. Had a great look, capitalized on that look, and made a career out of it. And it's something that he should be very, very proud of.